What is going on? What is going on? Thank y'all so much for tuning into another episode of Beyond the Hustle. This right here is episode 10. Claps all around, claps all around. Join with me, as always, is my co-host, the co-host, serial entrepreneur, Paul Rene Jr. Paul, what's going on, man? What is going on? This is episode 10.
Nothing much. What's
10,
up, Daniel?
man.
Maestro, the man that puts it all together. Daniel Tatamy Productions. How you been, man? How was your week, bruv?
Good, man. I'm excited, man. We got somebody in the waiting room too, man.
Man. Look, it's an exciting time, man. This is our 10th episode.
Oh, fix the collar, Paul. Fix the collar,
we gotta pop our collar to this, right? 10th episode. Man, I'm happy we made it. Dude, that was the vision. That was the goal that we had before we started this, man. It's like, hey, man, let's just at least do this to that 10th episode. It was perfect timing, fit right into the holidays. We're going to take a break, right? And jump into the next year. 2025 is going to be an awesome year. And another thing that makes this special is we have another special guest with us. Is Elliott Castello. Elliott, what's going on, bruv? How are you?
What's happening, man? This is so hyped from the beginning. Like, I just want to know, is there a way? Do you guys have a service to hire you guys out to just follow me around everywhere?
Yeah, you got to talk to Daniel about that. Let me clue the people in with Elliott. Elliott is a performance coach, a videographer. He's a podcaster. Also does fashion. Tell us what is Elliott? What's a performance coach? What's that all about, bro?
What's a performance coach? It probably includes going back to kind of when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I a long time ago thought that I wanted to be a forensic psychologist. That was my original dream, is because I watched too many movies. So I thought I was going to be the dude in a trench coat who was like creeping out like crime scenes and like looking at blood splatter stuff and like being the guy who was like, I think we know who's behind this. So that's what I go to school for. So my freshman year, I major in criminology because I think I'm basically going to be like Dexter. And then I realized real quick that most of my first classes are like learning about the Constitution. And I'm real quickly not as interested in that. I switched my major to psychology because I just knew that I thought people were interesting. I've always thought people were interesting. And I don't think I really knew what I wanted to do with that. I watched my mom be a teacher, a fourth grade teacher for 28 years. And I watched my mom work around people. And so I always knew that people were interesting. I don't really know what I wanted to do. And I ended up doing it in a professional kind of clinical setting for a number of years, which was really cool. And then I figured out that after having kids and doing some other exciting stuff, that there might be a way that I can do this on an individual basis with people and find a way to help people figure out whatever they need, whether it's nutrition, finding a new job, relationship, kids, parenting stuff. I've always kind of had like a brushback thing to the term life coaching, because I think that makes it sound like you like know what you're doing. So I've always thought it was, I've never caught, like, I think that's weird and kind of grimy. But I don't know, performance coach. So we performance coach, whatever it is you need. I don't know, life, food, kids, parents, work. I've been around for 42 years and I don't think I know a lot, but I've seen a lot of stuff.
No, but you know a lot about yourself. One thing I learned about psychology, because I went to school for psychology myself over there at UCF, is it teaches you a lot about yourself too. And when you learn about yourself and you get to somewhat master yourself, you can help other people get on track too as well. So you're just helping people get on track on all levels. It sounds like. Am I right about that?
Well put. You're exactly. See, that's what I mean. Well, I'm just hire you guys to just do the whole thing. You follow me around, and then if someone asks me what I do, you just say that, and then Daniel plays the horns, and then that's it. It's a wrap.
That's the maestro. So cool. Daniel put it all together for us,
dude, right? I'm sitting here listening to you talk, and I just met you tonight, and we talked a little bit off camera. But dude, you put on that shirt, and I'm just stuck on that phrase, bro. What the dude? Is that yours? Can't control the ocean?
Yeah. This is our stuff. This is Hanse and I's stuff with Warpath, man. This was So Warpath is a brand that my buddy Hanse and I run together. It's actually how I know Paul. That's how I'm here sitting talking to you guys. And this is one of our shirts. You know, I think we're both very interested. Paul said fashion, right? I think, yeah, we like fashion. I think we like clothes, we like t-shirts, we like hats, we like all kinds of stuff, and we like what we like. And we kind of started to lean into creating some stuff like that. I won't do you the horror of me trying to turn around in this chair to show you the back of it. But it says can't control the ocean on the back, but it says but you can learn how to surf. And that's been a guiding philosophy that we've been kind of rolling with. Especially, it's been a big thing for me, man, over these past 6 months because things have been rad and amazing, but they have been the definition of unpredictable over the last couple months. And if I had a plan 6 months ago, and if I had stuck to that plan rather than pivoting like I have, it would be a mess. So the idea of learning how to surf.
One thing about Warpath, though, just got to give a shout out to the Warpath clothing line that you guys are pushing out. Not only do you guys have the illest slogans on your clothes, on your t-shirts, but the material is outstanding. Okay, I mean, seriously, it's top of the line material out there in comparison to those even quality name brand companies that you guys hear about. I really got to commend you guys on that. You guys really go above and beyond by giving people quality material, not just the slogans and the design, but the material.
Well, yeah, it's got to feel good, right? And this is the byproduct of me. The conversations that I've had with my wife, where she's asked me if I've had too many T-shirts. I'll now play this part of the podcast for her, where I'll tell her that it's actually just been research in order to build up to this moment to find the perfect one. So that's man, we take that stuff seriously. I mean, you're going to ask people to pay $35-$40 for a T-shirt, dude. Make it a cool shirt that feels good and you want to wear it. Should be something that you feel good, sporting around. Especially, we feel pride in it when I see somebody wearing it. It's like, that's crazy. I remember the first time somebody tagged something on Instagram with a shirt with a hat that I designed. I was like, that's nuts. Yeah. Like, that's crazy. Like, an idea that was my brain and our buddy Noah, who designs our stuff, created into something, and then to see somebody else wear that, that's insane.
Well, I need some more gear. All right, so
okay.
Let's hopefully you guys can satisfy that for
fun stuff
for
coming.
My list, my Santa list.
Warm winter times coming.
Yeah,
get your legs and arms warm.
Yeah. Oh man, I always hit the gym with the Demand More sweater hoodie.
Yeah.
All right, I've always hit it, and when I'm walking around with it too, people are like, "Oh, I like that. I like that slogan. I like that. Yeah, because Demand More. That tells you a lot about the mentality of the person wearing it, man. So, outstanding work.
On that, Paul, I mean, if you, man, something on that real quick, if I may, that's, Hansei, right? Which it deserves all the flowers in the world for,
of course,
being, my closest friend in the world to this day, somebody who I've only known for 4 or 5 years at this point, but would trust with my life. The stuff you're talking about, kind of these, little hot, little flash things, sayings, little quips, little stuff like that. These are things that have come up in conversations between him and I over the last 4 or 5 years. That are stuff that have become driving principles of how I think about my day. And it's not even just something to put on a t-shirt, man. That guy has influenced my life in such an incredible way with his words, that to be able to put that stuff on a shirt so other people can be like, hey man, maybe this hits you the way that it hits me, brings me immense joy. So I always got to throw that out whenever we're talking about anything Warpath, because that's his baby. And he invited me to come on board with it. And that will never be lost on me, that part of it.
Awesome. And I've always wanted to be a part of it once I've seen the direction that he was heading in it. I want to talk about, faith will move mountains and courageous men will climb mountains, right? I guess
that's a rumor. I just made
that up. Maybe we could put that on the shirt or something, right? But I remember
I don't have a producer.
Yeah, I've climbed about 3 mountains in my life, right? Nothing to where I had to have harnesses or ropes or anything like that. But some long hikes, hours of hikes, and I remember Spain being one. That was one of the easiest ones, and then I did the Jinko rainforest, and that's just memorable to me because. I remember it took us a couple of hours to get up there, and all I had was just one water bottle, and it was hot and humid. And halfway up, water was gone. I'm feeling like I'm dying of thirst. Okay, and I'm like, should we go back? And going back would have probably been worse. but I really wanted to hit the top. And it's just something I want to throw out there that's just fascinating. It was just how everything just falls in line. Nature was in tune with us during that day. I was like, you know what, let's just move forward and truck forward. And a couple, yards ahead of moving forward, all we see is a trickling of water coming down the side of the mountains. And I was just like, oh my goodness, the universe heard our prayers, right? Because here's this natural spring, natural water trickling down the side of the mountain at my thirstiest moment in life. I swear I've never been as dehydrated as that. Muscles getting sore and everything, climbing up that mountain or walking up that mountain. And it was just, I was able to fill up that water bottle. It was satisfying, refreshing. I was drinking straight off of the side of the mountain, and next thing you know, we made it up to the top of the mountain to where we can see above the clouds and everything, man. Just wanted to talk about it and bring it up because you yourself had an experience mountain climbing. Can you tell us about that, please?
Yeah, man, I can tell you about that. And that, two things you said there, that feeling of, you're describing a thing, which is like the true feeling of thirst, right? Which is like, what does it mean to really be thirsty? And I experienced my own, which is hunger on that. And so how I got there is because, well, the day before, I'll start at the middle and then we'll go back. The day before, we went snack shopping, as you do before you're about to climb a 14,000-foot mountain. And I bought, a bunch of big boys going snack shopping. We wrecked the grocery store. Like, you can imagine. The snack, like Sour Patch Kids are not to be found anywhere. You can imagine. So we stock up. Well, the morning before we leave, we take off because we had been asked to come out and film. Hanse and I had been asked to come out with the Reboot Project, which is a great, incredible organization that we got a chance to spend a whole weekend with. It's organized and founded by Brian Bush, and it's a group that works with veterans. And it's a year-long program that provides them opportunity to work on mental health, physical health, and kind of emotional all-around rehabilitation to get into a place where they find themselves at a new spot in life. And it culminates with the hiking of a 14,000-foot mountain in Colorado. And about a month before they were going to do this, Hanse and I got asked, hey, you guys want to come out and film it for us and make a little thing out of it? Because we've kind of started to do that. That's been another thing we started to do, making little movies. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, sure. And so I'm like, I'm like, this is incredible. Let's go. I'm just like, yeah, because at this point, I just trust Hanse that if he's telling me this is a good idea, it's something to go do. And it's like a week ahead of time. And I'm like, I haven't really looked at like what a 14,000-foot mountain is. Like, I'm like, we're good. Like, I'm good. We're fine. I think I'm in decent shape. We're functioning. So I look it up and I'm like, yeah, this is cool. Like, we got it. We're good. We're fine. We're good. So we get out there, we go. The only difference is now obviously slinged up with camera gear. So got all of our gear, and plus I got like a sling bag on the front of me with like our cameras and all our gear. So we're literally filming this like National Geographic style. It's very also important to note that I have no idea what I'm doing. It's an important thing to note for this story. Like, I know how to walk. I know how to walk at an angle. I've had this camera for about a year and a half that we've gotten kind of dangerous with. But other than that, this is like, I'm just showing up and just being like, let's roll. And man, that's basically what we did for, I don't know, what's the math? 11 hours, something like that. We just rolled with it. Oof. And it was the most incredible experience I've ever had in my life. I've never done anything that hard before. I've never done anything that, I don't know, rewarding is the right word. There's nothing, the thing I've been talking about a lot with it, when it's come up, even with my kids or whatever, is point of reference. It's the thing I think about a lot. When I got up to that top, and maybe this was the same for you when you were describing when you got up above the clouds, when I got up to the top of that mountain and looked around and just saw clouds and mountains, that's it, right? There's no skyscraper, like that's it. There's nothing. I've never seen anything like that in my life. I have no frame of reference for that. That looks like a painting to me. It looks like my brain can't even process what I'm looking at. It's so incredible. Right. So I don't trying to wrap my head around that being up there. I FaceTime my mom because of course that's what you do. And as I FaceTime my mom, I don't even really remember, but I don't even think we really talked. Like, my mom knew what I was doing that day. I got a really rad picture of it. I've never actually done anything with. Maybe I'll send it over. Maybe we can toss it with this or something like that, because it's a cool picture of that that someone else took of me FaceTiming my mom on the mountain, top of the mountain. Wow. I don't think we talked. I just cried. and she just cried, and we just like FaceTime for like 30 seconds of just like crying together on top of a mountain, right? Because I'm like, what am I gonna say? Like, isn't this neat? Like, yeah, it's insane. Like, there's nothing that I can do that's gonna be like, it's just like, here, look. And I realized even after coming back and like showing pictures and videos and stuff to it, that's cool, but it doesn't do it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not
you
the
know what I
same
mean?
as experiencing it,
Yeah.
firsthand,
Yeah.
man.
So
That's
being up
awesome.
there,
Well,
yeah,
I
that was
want to talk
magical.
about
And then coming down,
the video. I want to talk about the
oh,
videography.
please.
Yeah, Daniel can is probably like the one who's most experienced in, as comparison with you two as well. You guys have similar backgrounds in the videography. Daniel's done a lot of my commercials and advertising. For Tax Money 1 through 2, 3. Wanted to know what got you started. What motivated you to get started in videography?
10 years old. My mom and I are at the movie theater behind Drug Mart, and we're getting ready to walk in and see Terminator 2. And my mom tells me, I'm taking you to see this because I know you know it's not real. That's what she says to me as I'm 10 years old and we're getting ready to walk into a rated R Terminator 2. And I'm like,
Right.
I bet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. So we'd see that, and that changes my life in terms of me just having just being like, this is, I don't know what I just saw, but I know I now want more of just this. I'd always grown up with movies. Like, people like movies. Like, I like movies. Like, everybody like, it's kind of like, also people like music. Like, I like music, like probably to a weird amount. But movies and cinema and like, the way things are directed.
Yeah, I'm a big movie
shot,
buff.
Yeah, it's just always been stuff that I've loved. I've appreciated, like, I'll appreciate a movie that I don't think is necessarily that entertaining if I think it looks cool.
Yep.
Or whatever, right? So I've always just loved the look of stuff and stylistically things. When I started finding the whole kind of fitness aspect of this whole deal, part of the way that I made myself feel okay with putting my stuff on Instagram, like, so my coach, Bonnie, could see it at the time, because I was like, nobody cares about my squats. Why does anybody want to see my shitty bench press or whatever it is, right? But my brain was like, you used to grow up wanting to make music videos, so you could put music and stuff to these things, and at least maybe that makes it entertaining for you. And if somebody's going to watch it, maybe at least they like haven't heard Chingy in 15 years. And now maybe they're like distracted by me not locking out my lats or whatever. And they're like, that's a fun song, right? This is how my brain did. And that was 4 years ago. And then about a year and a half-ish ago, I think, maybe coming up on 2 years, Hanse and I got our hands on the FX3s that we have now. And it's just been rocking and rolling. I offered to video a friend's powerlifting meet. That was sick. Another one of our friends, Sam, he's an amputee. He had a kickboxing fight that I went and videoed. I'm putting together a bunch of kind of little short films for these right now, about 20, 45-minute little short films. And the goal is at the beginning of the year, we're going to kind of release them as part of a Warpath film series of kind of Welcome to Day One, which is another thing that we talk about, which is a first time for an experience. So it's all just rolled. I don't have a cool thing where I was like, I was at this place and then this guy did this. It's just been little stuff that then just begets other stuff. I started filming weddings too. I've done 4 weddings now, which is weird and wild. I don't know. I just showed up and started filming weddings, and it's a little bit different and unique maybe than how other people do it. I like to film kind of like handheld documentary style. Mm-hmm. So my wedding videos kind of look like that. They're not, maybe, I don't know what traditional means anymore, but it's a little bit different. And I just started finding some people that vibed with how I was doing it, which made me happy. I was really nervous the first time I put out, the first time I gave somebody a wedding video that didn't look like a wedding video, I was a little nervous. And then when they were like,
no, that's dope.
Great,
that's a big part of someone's life
dope.
that you are documenting and tapping into, and they're going to remember that, man, for the rest of their lives, unless things split up. You gonna say something, Daniel?
Yeah, I was gonna say, just listening to him talk. When getting into that video space and that cinematography, I don't know. I had to adopt that word now because I guess you're supposed to. But getting into that, I just say anything I can point a camera at. That's what I do. I just love to simplify it that way. But even your style of filming that's a style, and there's a market for that. It's like music. There's no one way to make music. You know what I'm saying? Like every time these younger generation comes out with something, it's always crazy when Soulja Boy, that is never catch on, but it's a different style. Now you got like the Yachty's and all of that, and YBN Click, like it's all a style. Filming, it's all a style, and that unique style. There's somebody in there that's gonna like that. That whole candid, like that handheld shot, unconventional, style. People like that. People like that
I've
candid
enjoyed
retro
it, man.
style.
And you know why I've liked it? It's allowed me, which everybody, again, of all the stuff I've filmed so far has been cool with. It allows me to really get in stuff. I like being a part of stuff. Yeah. I like being involved in the thing. I think I'm biased. The thing I think that we do well, though, whether it's Hanse and I with our videography stuff, or Sophie, who's my partner that I do weddings with here in Ohio, we make the event better. We're not just there to film it. Like we enhance the thing we're there to film. Mm-hmm. So not in a way where we get in the way or make it about whatever, but we will participate and enjoy and have fun and get to know the folks. And so it's kind of this integrated thing that I really like, weddings or any of this stuff. Like, I like being engaged with the people, and that's been really fun.
Yeah. One of the things that I came up in film as well. So I had the luxury of being a part of being an extra. And so that's what really got me into film. I don't know if you remember the show, Sheena. That's dating myself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I remember Sheena.
The word. So I was an extra in Sheena, and I'm on set, and my brother, he ends up doing the stunt where he got thrown out of like this like hut or whatever like that, and he actually did like a stunt, and they had to give him his SAG card because of that. So he ended up getting a SAG card for free back then. But anyway,
that's rad.
But I'm on this set, and I'm like in middle school or something like that. So I'm like, what is this? Where am I? It's when they used to shoot out at Universal in the Universal Studios backlot. Back when they shot films in Orlando. But I'm I had no business being there. But I'm there and I'm like, this is kind of cool, Yeah. And just watching the way that this thing happened, and I kind of like adopted that. So I put it down for a long time. I wasn't doing it. And getting back into it, probably like over 8 years ago, Paul, whatever, something like that. But
a long time ago.
I was taught and groomed by that culture where you did anything for the shot. So I'm getting in like these uncomfortable positions. I'm like doing laying down, like anything for the shot. And I shoot that way. It's like whatever makes it look dope. You know what I'm saying? Whatever makes it look cool, I'm doing it. So I kind of want to hear, I want to hear how you see that. Like, you have that eye, that vision. Like you're for you, I'm pretty sure you're thinking post-production. I'm in post right now when I'm filming this, because I know when this edit comes together, what it's gonna have to look like. So I need this shot, I need that shot. So I don't know, man. I want to hear it, because I know for me, but I want to hear what you got to say about like being out there shooting and like how you going through those motions to get that shot.
Man, dude, that's such a fun question. It's such a and it goes back to what I was saying before. I think part of that for me goes back to having the opportunity so far to, on some level, whether it's been the people, so like Kobe, who I shot the powerlifting meet for, Sam, who I filmed the kickboxing fight for, these are friends of mine that I know. Right. Friends and clients. Kobe was a client of mine, also friend, but people that I know, right? So I'm going into it kind of with an idea of like the story I'm going to tell based off of what I already know about them. Right. Whether that's music, the way it look, whatever, like the whole deal, because that's just like it just does that, for better or for worse sometimes. And then like with weddings, each instance, it's been, I've gotten there and I have like, there's been, the words beat to death at this point, right? But there's a vibe. And I'm like, oh, this is what the vibe of this one is. Like the last one that I just did, they had a helicopter. They got done with the ceremony and they went down the aisle and they got in a helicopter. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, we are doing some like 80s Miami Vice. We are doing, and that's kind of how I cut together one of the first things. That's not how they wanted their like actual wedding video, but I talked to them before, then they knew, like, they're cool with me playing with it. So I gave them a final product that was different than that, but I'm also playing with it. So I'm trying to do a couple things at once. I think when I film stuff, I'm thinking about like, what does this person want, obviously? And then also, is there other stuff that I can use out of this that I can make mine? So like I got some B-roll footage of the helicopter during that wedding that, we might do something fun with later. I don't know for what, but if we're ever filming, if Paul and I ever film something, and Paul's like, you got any insert shots of a helicopter? I do now.
Got
There
helicopter
we go.
B-roll.
Yeah. So I think, so yeah, you're right, man. I think about it like there hasn't been a time that I've sat down to edit something where I've been like, what do I do with it?
Yeah.
Because and that'll come. I'm sure that'll happen. I mean, obviously my sample size isn't huge yet, but so far it's all been stuff that I'm like from Jump Street. I'm like, and I start with the song usually. I put the song that I'm thinking with it, and then I edit with the song playing.
Oh,
that's
man,
how I do.
I don't want to turn this into a video conversation, Paul, so I'm going to take it back. But that's crazy.
No worries.
I'm completely backwards. So like when I get there, like what you said, there's a vibe, right? I go back to the story. My tag is like quality storytelling. Like that's my tag. Like, so whatever story, like when you walk in there, you can see how it's set up, how's it done. Okay, all right, I got the story now. I know what type of, like, it's funny because when you saw that helicopter, you thought Miami Vice. I thought luxury. You know, and
yes,
it's funny. It's funny how that, but I mean that's the way. It's all an interpretation.
Well, so here, I got some. Yeah, I got something for that though. So where it all came together, right? So where the final video for that came together. Shout out to Anna and JT, they're great. The final video or the song I used for the final cut of like the end part of it it's a song called Inner Bloom by a band called Rufus Del Sol. If you don't know what that is, check it out. It's a very vibey, kind of ethereal, chill, almost high-end luxury song, but not quite. Like you'll listen to it if after we chatted and you listen to it after this whole deal, and you'll get it. You'll understand. You'll be like, I get it. So it was kind of like where it came together was like a blend, right? Okay. Where I'm not going to go totally. And I, with the music thing, man, it's always been the way that I've seen stuff with that. It's really crazy, and not on some like, beautiful mind way, but I always have music in my head. It's weird. Yeah. Like soundtracks, or I'm walking in a room and I hear, whatever it is, Shawn Michaels music play, and it's happening, whatever, like, so it's just always have this opportunity now to do something that can be a job, maybe. Yeah. To get to do that.
I know how that is, man. One of my first businesses was in the music industry, and it's just something about entrepreneurs, man. It's a creative side of them, man. Music allows you to be creative, and so does videos, and creating, movies or cinema. What do you call it, Daniel? Cinematographer?
Cinematography. Well, what Paul, the other thing I was thinking about that too. I think it's similar to you, having a profession where you're dealing with money, right? High risk, right? There's a lot of trust, responsibility. I know there's a part of me that this stuff that I've liked shooting so far, right, has all been like documentary-esque type stuff. There's no reshoots. I know there's a part of me that likes the fact that I get that there's like, she's coming down the aisle once. Yep. Like there's a part of me, there's a part of my little like masochistic brain that's like, you got one chance to not ruin this. And I know there's a part of me that feeds off that. Yeah, there's a part of me that's like, you got like this, this only gets one shot. You don't get to say like start over. Yeah. So I don't necessarily have as much of I don't have as much of an interest in filming like scripted stuff, I guess. That's cool. I've done some. I think it's fun. We've done a little bit of it. My kids and I have done some, but I really like the fact of just being like, I'm on a mountain. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, I feel like I might fall off this mountain right now with this camera in my hand.
And
like,
it's all happening at once.
Yeah, I thought about that once. I did. I thought about that once. I started to slip, and I was like, hit record before you fall.
But the shot would be dope. We won't get it.
Yeah, keep it running.
But
my
Paul,
Oscar, right?
Paul, Oksana said that she didn't know that you had a music business. That's cool.
Oh yeah, that was the first business I had, was a music business out in North Carolina. Had 7 artists. This was while I was in the military, and all the artists were from different states. So we came together and created phenomenal music. Used to do shows, used to sell CDs. One of the best feelings I had was going to Walmart and hearing people bumping the music. Or hearing it on the radio, without knowing it was going to be played. So, but I had responsibilities to take care of, man, and the music business wasn't making any money. So I had to, do the big boy thing and figure out a way to create money, and support the family I believe a man should, So, and plus, I was getting older, and to me, it's a young man's sport. But I do relate to what Elliott's saying, even still. Today, while I'm doing things, I get theme musics bumping into my head, whether it's at low times or high times, there's different
Yeah.
types of theme musics that goes on. But I wanted to talk about the topic today that we had set up. You mentioned that you do take a lot of videos of guys who are in the physical sphere of martial arts or powerlifting. What do you think is important about men's health in entrepreneurship, or women's health, but from a man's perspective? How important is men's health and entrepreneurship in your eyes, Elliott? We wanted to talk to you about that since you're in that sphere of influence.
Yeah, man. I think my way of getting there has been like I kind of found it through weird ways, almost kind of like I don't know, like you go to the mall and you're like, I don't really know what I'm shopping for, but let's just go look around, and then you're like, oh, all right, there's that. That's kind of how I feel like my whole thing with it was. With that all being said, I think it's massively important. I think for 37 years of my life, I didn't really put a lot of value into my physical health. It was a lot of stuff dumped into the mental and emotional stuff, which is fantastic. I was very skewed in that direction of, emotions and feelings, which is wonderful and big fan of this day still. But the physical side of it was a thing that I just kind of ignored, or at a certain point thought that maybe it missed me because it wasn't a part of my life growing up. I didn't lift weights in high school. I didn't play sports. I didn't do any of that stuff. But now, if I'm hitting on your question correctly, I would say that being a part of my life was the thing that started all of the things we've talked about for the past half hour. I mean, me getting a handle on my physical wellness and all that started all this. At one point, at my heaviest, I was about 295 pounds. Like I've lost about
Oh
100
wow! Oh, you kidding me?
pounds.
Whoa!
Nah, bro.
Yeah.
Outstanding, bro.
No way, dude.
Yeah.
Man.
It was a well earned too. It wasn't, and that was not like lifting weights. That was like, did I go to Wendy's twice today? Like
How
that's
tall
what
are you?
that's like.
What's your height?
Oh, not a 5'7" in like platforms. Like
And you was
I'm
290 something, bro.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm built like
I mean, I got to
bathroom
give
trash
you
can.
a round of
Dude.
applause for all that right there, man. Straight up.
Oh,
Yeah.
the effects.
Straight up.
Yeah, man. But and it was one of those things that, again, it kind of goes to the other stuff, right? Like it wasn't a thing. Like I didn't have a heart attack. There wasn't a thing. It was just kind of literally one day I was like, oh, well, that'd be crazy to like die before your kids graduate high school. Like it's just was just that, like whatever. Just like, not that I had thought that, but had a moment of like, that's insane. And then kind of, got a whole nother path of gotten it together, of started powerlifting and working with coach Bonnie, who changed my life in that aspect and taught me, I knew nothing and literally taught me. This was during COVID, so it was all virtual. So I'm sending videos to her of me powerlifting in my garage with stuff I went down and bought at Rogue like the day before they closed. And it just rolled from there. And that, whether you want to call it habit, I mean, you could put a million different internet buzzwords to it, right? It taught me good habits. It taught me good routines. It gave me something to look forward to. Real honestly, it was an excuse for me to listen to music by myself for an hour at first, but I thought I might sweat a little bit when I was like, yeah, sure, I'll lose weight. And I was like, I can listen to like ratchet rap music in the garage for an hour, like by myself.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, you lose 100 pounds. And I did a powerlifting meet last year, and, it's been crazy. And I enjoy hiking now and climb mountains. But to your question, like, yeah, like for me, it was the start of it that allowed other entrepreneurial things to happen, because it developed habits. I didn't have goals like this entrepreneurial stuff. It wasn't the point of any of this. The point of it was to like not die, right? It was to like lose weight and not die. And by that, some cool stuff happened. I met cool people, and you start doing cool stuff. But that happened because I was like, what if I took care of myself a little bit more?
Wow. So your journey on maintaining your health helped open the doors for your businesses and entrepreneurship.
It blew the doors
and
open.
networking with
Yeah.
people.
Like, for real, man, the doors didn't exist. Like, I can't stress that enough. Like, my life was not any of this. My life ruled. My life was rad. I was a director at a nonprofit in Columbus, worked with kids and adults with disabilities. It was cool. I had a great team of people I worked with. It was awesome. I love my job. This was all the idea of, like, what happens if we see if there's more? Rather than feeling bad or guilty about what if you do something else? This was all a flyer with that. And you know, I'd be stupid to not think that I didn't prove something to myself when I benched 300 pounds that I can do a lot, right?
Yeah.
So those two things, like, I'd be a moron not think that those things aren't connected. That day that I benched 300 pounds didn't unlock something in my brain to be like, yeah, maybe you can have a new job. Because, like, you didn't think this was possible either.
Right. I think
so. If you can do this,
I heard somewhere that majority of people, only like 10% of people in the gym can bench over 225 pounds or even hit 225 pounds. That's something that I heard. It's just a stat that I'm bringing up. I don't know how true that is.
I heard that too.
No,
I heard that a lot. Yeah,
you're right. I remember. I think the most I got was like 285, and I can get 225. My goal is to I just want to be able to bench 225 at least 5 times. Like, I never want to leave that type of conditioning or that type of just to being able to. I don't want to go over that anymore.
So it's here on that, right? So we did this powerlift. We did a mock powerlifting meet last year. Me and my friends out in St. Louis at a gym called Dope, which is where Matt Vincent, who runs Not Dead Yet Life, which is where Hansa and I originally met. It's kind of the epicenter of all that. So we did like a mock powerlifting meet. And I had been gunning. I had been like 285s definitely there, like 290s there. And when we were there, we're going. I get on my second attempt. I get 290, and it's good. And I'm talking to Bonnie, my coach, and she's like, I think we should do 295. And again, this is all just like for fun, right? Like, it's all just fun. And she's like, I think we should do 295. And I'm like, I kind of need to go 300. And I was like, the reason is because I don't really care if I can bench 295. Like, I need to know if I can bench 300. Because if I'm going to tell this story, that sounds better in my brain.
Yeah.
So I was like, we're going to go for it. And we did. And, I might have rushed the press a touch, but, it's all in fun. But I got it. And that was the most I remember. I remember sitting up from that bench and just being like having a rush of just like, whoa, like that's crazy.
Wow.
That just happened.
Mission accomplished.
That is crazy.
Mission accomplished, yeah.
The chat says respect. That's amazing. Discipline. That is crazy. And that's respect for that weight loss. I tell people this a lot, like even when it comes to this to the gym, it's a lot more than just physically getting in shape. It does a lot for you mentally. It does a lot for you emotionally, spiritually. Like most people will never know what it feels like, and it sucks, right? To actually like have a goal, or even not even have a goal, just like to accomplish something. Like, you sitting there, you're doing this weight, you're doing this certain type of weight for like maybe like a week, 2 weeks to a month, and then like you go up and wait, and then you go up and wait, like to have those constant hurdles being overtaken, like to accomplish those things, in those small steps. And like you said, like if you didn't unlock that mentally, what it does for you mentally, man, not even just about physically, being proud of yourself, but what it does for you mentally, accomplishing those things over and over again, bro. Like you said, I can have a different type of job, bro. I just completed something. Yeah.
What else? Like I just held 300 pounds over my face and didn't crush my skull.
Right.
Like I bet I can have a hard conversation with my boss. Like I bet you're capable of doing that, right? Or I bet you can be a little firmer when you're trying to get your kid to go to bed. Like you can probably do something that you're avoiding that because you think it's too hard and like it's, it's hard. Hard stuff's hard. That's why it's hard.
I relate to that, Elliott. That's been my, channel of stress, right? Like my stress release has been hitting that gym and working out hard. Even right now, my quads are sore because doing some squats earlier today, and I could hardly walk. But yeah, that's my way of redirecting stress, man, and dealing with numbers and having the responsibility of people's finances on your shoulders. I have to take that out somewhere, right? And and the gym and all the other different types of physical activities that I involve myself with, whether it's swimming or diving or whatever, that's where I channel my stress. So I can relate to that.
Well, and the fun part
what
is knowing now that you have options to switch it, right? Because you're like, whether it's
yeah,
lifting or swimming or whatever it is, you have this bag of stuff that you can pull from depending on what it
being
is. 'Cause to go
versatile,
back,
right?
right. To go back to your original question, I think that's a spot dudes, people, whatever get jammed up in is that it's like, oh, I have this thing and now I have to do my thing. Whatever my thing is, I must do my thing. A good example is like I haven't power lifted since, what is this, December? I haven't power lifted since like September was the last time I really lifted heavy. There's just been like a lot of life and stuff. I've been hiking, I've been walking, I've been doing body weight stuff. I've been going out in the garage and swinging the mace or whatever, right? But like life's been
Yeah.
popping off. A lot of good stuff. I haven't been in the mood to do like an hour and a half powerlifting routine. I did that for 4 years for
That's
5
a
days
long
a week.
time. Wow.
Like I did that for 4 years for 5 days a week. Like legit probably only missed a handful of days here and there. And then all of a sudden at one point this summer, not in a bad way, I was just like, I don't feel like squatting right now. And so rather than going through this like crisis of like, am I not, whatever, I like put on a vest and we live across the street from the woods. And so I went over the woods and started hiking. And then I started doing that this summer. So I was ripping off like 10, 12 miles of like hiking in the woods. And then I started trail running. What the hell? Like on purpose. I was running in the woods, like not being chased, like
On
just
purpose.
by choice.
No
On
Blair
purpose,
Witch.
like run. Yeah, I remember. I texted Hanse that day. I was like, "You'll never believe what I did." And I sent him the promenade song. I sent him the promenade song from Last of the Mohicans. If you know what that is, it's the song from the end of Last of the Mohicans when they're running on the rocks. And I was like, "That's how I felt running the woods." But it's dorky.
You really
stuff
have
like that.
theme songs. You really have
No, for real. For real though, man. It's dorky stuff like that that keeps me going. Right? Like
Yeah.
I didn't like it. That I remember that day out in the woods. It was hot as hell, and I remember just being like, "I don't want to do this." And I remember being like, but this might be fun. And I put that on my headphones and I was like, oh yeah, shit, this is kind of fun. You feel like you're in a movie. I don't know, it worked. You know, got
Dude.
sweaty and ran.
We're gonna take a break in the conversation. Paul, you know what time it is?
yeah.
We're
I
gonna
do
play a
know
little
what time
game,
it is.
Elliot.
Oh God, there's games? Okay.
It's called Keep
He
It
wasn't
or
ready.
Return to Sender.
Okay.
And it's very simple. It's a very simple game. I'm gonna list out some things and you tell me if we should keep it or we should return it to sender.
Totally hear
Painless
this.
enough. It's painless enough. It's not a whole lot, right?
Yep.
So the first thing we got is Black Friday sales, man. Should we keep those or return to sender? Black Friday.
I think at this point it's a parody of itself. There was like Black Friday sales like a month and a half ago. So I think at this point, keep it because nothing matters. It's the Wild West. We're gonna have Black Friday sales in July. So just let people go nuts. Keep it.
Let them go crazy.
Yeah, Black Friday sales
Yeah.
all year long. Yeah, get a toaster for $20 off in March.
Yeah, I think return to sender. It's a manipulation that the corporations are trying to do to you. They're really not marking down any prices, man.
I mean,
They're
for
just
whatever
making it seem
it's
like they
worth,
are.
I also agree with Paul because I also think people are just getting ripped off. So I'm just saying, I have two answers. All right, I'll do that.
It's a little bit of both, and that's why I put that in there because I know that's a winner, man.
Daniel likes doing these type of things, man. Yeah,
I love him.
he likes that.
All right, this next one, financial aid. Financial aid. Do we keep that or return it to sender? I know it's a crazy one, right?
Jeez, man, real swing here. All right, hold on. Like, just overall, like for like students, what are we doing?
Dude, okay. So when I thought of this question, I said because I'm not gonna give mine, right? I'm not gonna give mine, right? But when I thought of it, I was like, okay, you can answer it if there's an in place of, right? If there's something we replace it with, or do we just do away with it?
No, I'll answer. I'll answer clean. I keep it. I'll take it at the merit of the question. Keep it because I don't go to college without it. Not that like that's a thing that someone must do, but I'm probably not here talking to you without it. Just because that was my path. How about that? How about my answer? My answer is informed. Is that a cop out?
And I agree. And I'll fill you guys in and the rest of the world in with the little insight of me. But financial aid catapulted my success because what I did was, instead of spending my financial aid money, I invested it in real estate.
Yeah, see, I did not do that.
Okay, see.
So just for the record,
See,
I should
see, Paul was a cheat stick.
Yeah. Yeah. That really set me off, man, and got me here today. I ended up being able to buy properties with no debt attached to them, and was able to live off of the properties I bought off of financial aid.
So I was like, okay, can we replace? A lot of people get in trouble with financial aid. That's the reason I even put that on the list, because a lot of people get in trouble with it.
So my answer would be like, yes, but also, I mean, I think it's cool. Here, real quick sidebar. My kids are 13 and 10. The stuff that I see them learning about in school today is super rad. My youngest daughter went to a place called BizTown today, which is this kind of replica thing where they replicate small businesses in the area, well, large businesses, and they replicate like working for the day, right? And they do like budgets and all this kind of cool stuff. Dude, we didn't do any of that. I didn't have any experience doing any of that. So this idea of like things now that like they're learning, I'm so happy they are, because I was just winging it. And so this idea of like what Paul's describing is something that, I'm happy that it's there for them with all the things they're learning now.
Look, financial aid is one of the only times that you can get a loan that they give to you cash, instead of you having to buy something with that loan, to where, you have to pay it off in increments. Like, for example, a car, right? If you're going to get a loan for a car, they're not going to give you $15,000, $20,000 cash so that you can buy a car. You have to find the car, then they'll buy it, and then, you're making the payments on it. But financial aid is that only time where they're going to give you all that money. Now you get to do what you want with it. And so, but the financial aid that I received during the times that I was in school, I took vacations, man. I was in DR, Haiti, bought property, made the right moves at the right times with it. So
for my kids' 18th birthday, I'm giving them a phone call with you. That's what they're getting. I'm like, there you go.
There you go. Talk to Paul.
There you go. Yeah, you're welcome,
man.
Yeah.
Third one. This one. This was new. This was new to the list. I added a few new ones to the list, but this was new. Because I was talking to someone about it the other day. Cancel culture. I already know the answer. Keep it or return to sender.
I'm gonna try and give you like Paul. Can Paul go first? Not because I'm going to change my answer, but I want to see how Paul answers.
I say return to sender because I think that's just the mark of freedom is being able to say what you feel, regardless if you're wrong about it. Let's have that discussion. If we're wrong, prove it that I'm wrong, then, instead of saying, oh, we're going to cancel this guy and tarnish this guy's name, or he shouldn't be able to be on the platform because we don't agree with what he's saying. Well, debate what he's saying or she is saying. Have that conversation instead of eliminating or trashing that, or cutting off that person to be on a platform. I mean, that's how I think an intelligent society thrives, is being able to have positive disagreements, so that's my opinion on that. I don't want to jump into it any further. Let's get Elliott a chance to talk. But
I think that's aces. That help frame kind of because here's what I was gonna say. I'll say return to sender with the caveat of accountability matters, right? Like the great poet of our time, Taylor Swift, said, "Play stupid games, win stupid prizes." So if you're a public figure, or if you're a person, if you're somebody who is in a position of whatever, and you say some dumb shit, then don't be surprised if people are pissed about it and don't buy your stuff anymore. Like, this is just, there's accountability for stuff, right? Doesn't mean you can't say whatever you want. You can do, I agree with you. Like, absolutely. I think that someone shouldn't, but if a group of people decide that, like, they're not going to buy Warpath stuff anymore because I don't like pickles, like, that's, I don't know, like, that's okay. If I also say some whatever stuff that's more intense than that and they don't, I probably deserve it. And
it might even out.
Yeah, it might even out. Yeah, it might even out. I lived, part of the reason what informs any discussion about this or socio-political cultural stuff with me, man, I spent 15 plus years in my career working around individuals with disabilities, people from socioeconomic situations, and just the liveliest of crews, right? And so I'm disposed to probably go too hard in the paint for like telling people who say dumb stuff to stop saying dumb stuff, because I've seen some people be really hurt by dumb stuff that people say. And so when now here, I'll do it. We're here, so I'm going to do it. So now here, like in this current segment of time where people can say really hurtful things and we have to just pretend like it's an opinion of theirs we have to listen to, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't agree that now all of a sudden that we have to just give credence to somebody that has an opinion about a thing that I'm pretty sure we all decided was really bad a couple hundred years ago.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to like listen to you. You can have a platform, like that's cool. I don't care. Like other people, but I don't have to.
Yeah.
Someone else doesn't have to, right? But so that's it. So it's you make your choice, and then you just live with kind of how you're perceived. That matters to me. I strike this balance between like I care what people think about me in terms of like quality of a human. I don't care what people think about me in terms of like tattoos and the clothes I wear. Like that's my whole thing. When people are like, well, should you care about what people think about you? That's how I square that.
No, that's actually a good perspective, and I may want to follow. I may want to follow up on your idea about that because you do have tattoos. But okay, cable television. Are we done with that?
I think we're about done in this house. This is a real conversation we had the other day. This is the hottest topic we've come up with right here. Yeah.
I haven't watched cable TV in years, man.
We have it.
I think 10 years. 10 years.
I think I might do it.
Plus.
I'm gonna do it live right now. I'm gonna cancel my cable live right now on this call. No, I'm just kidding. That'd be wild if I did. Screen sharing.
Dude, screen share. Dude, I screen share or I AirPlay my phone, bro. I have a Mac. I'll send something from my man. Don't play with me, dude. Listen, I'll send something to that TV from my computer so quick. My kids like, Dad, can you find this? I'm like, I can find anything.
I can throw it right to the television. So yeah, so no, return to sender. Return to sender on cable TV.
Definitely, I agree.
Yeah. Two more. I only put this one up here because it's a topic of conversation. Because they're on the brink of it, right? But TikTok.
I haven't. I've never made a TikTok account because I know that I'll be done. Like Instagram is the only internet place I live. It made me feel kind of too old when I decided to start to learn it. Snapchat made me feel too old. I remember when that came out, I was like, I guess I'm done learning new stuff. And then with I figured out kind of Instagram, and so I just stay there. I can't. I do think this is a bigger conversation. I do think here now, return to sender, because I think that it is. No, I take that back. I'm conflicted.
It's an interesting one because I see why they want to get rid of TikTok. I understand it, and I'm on that platform. I use it. I post to it. And now, Beyond the Hustle, I have a second TikTok account.
What's your opinion? Tell us your opinion on why they want to cancel it.
Who, me? Or Daniel?
No, Daniel. What you said you understand why they want to cancel it.
Okay, so without going too crazy into it, right? So there's TikTok, of course, everyone knows it's a China-run, right, company, social media. The TikTok version that we have is not the TikTok version that their side of the world gets. We get a more broader, damaging, socially damaging version of TikTok.
It kind of has less guardrails. Is that a fair way to describe it? Yeah. Right? It's kind of it's a little more just like Wild West. I mean, www, the World Wide Web, like that's the Wild West. Sure. What is it? You know what I'm saying? .whatever.com, right? It's the Wild West, basically. Internet anyways. So like it's more damaging. So they had a big deal. They had an issue. So a lot of the music, their fair play music agreements, like they lost a lot of deals when it came to
the music. So before you go post, you post something, you can put music behind it. If you try to post music, if you post and you try to put music from TikTok, there are no main popular artists. Like a lot of these, well, the music company, the one took all their music off of TikTok's platform. So when you go, there's a lot of independent music. So it did open up the lane for independent artists and a lot of independent people to get their music off, because if you want to put music behind your stuff, well, you're not going to get Drake unless somebody did some remix version to it, but whatever like that. So they're trying to get TikTok to be banned in America.
And I think
there's
it's
a lot
really
of crazy
easy
stuff
for,
on there.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think it's really easy to try to frame the conversation around it, that it is some sort of like cultural question about whether it should be banned or get rid of, but it's not. Yeah. It's about people arguing about music licenses and about how different platform things. It's business. Right?
It's all business.
Now, right, guys, I'm about to put on my tinfoil hat on this one, right? All right. Because I have the world's biggest
weird crop circles and shit. Hell yeah.
All right. Yeah. So I've always been a conspiracy theorist. I've always stayed away from mainstream media. Like I said, I haven't even had cable for 10 years and stuff, right? Or plus, probably way before 10 years. Before that, I used to go on YouTube a lot, and I used to watch shows like Alex Jones and things like that. And you're right. If you don't like it, that's fine. Don't watch it. But there are people that do like it. That's why I don't like the whole cancel stuff. You have the choice to make what you want to watch and what you want to listen to. So fast forward years later, censorship and cancel culture on YouTube. You got to be careful what you say or they will cancel you. All right, you get flagged. So same thing with Facebook, same thing with Instagram. TikTok's the only thing that allows people to say what they say, do what they do. And it also exposes a lot of things that the mainstream media does not want to bring to the general public. Mm-hmm. That's the reason why that they want to shut it down in the U.S., because they don't want people to be aware of things that are going on that they're not sharing on all the other social media platforms. They want to have control over it.
He went tinfoil hat.
Same way they did with Twitter until your boy Elon bought it and switched it on to X, right? It's that same thing. You see all the owners of these social media platforms going and voicing their algorithms to Congress. TikTok doesn't have to do that because it's not an American-based company, and that's the reason why they want to shut it down, is because the government doesn't have any control over the content that's being pushed out in TikTok.
And TikTok,
so I say keep it.
TikTok. A lot of the information that they get, because when you sign up for your account, you could do it through email or you could do it through cell phone, right? So you can pick either one you want. And I will say, TikTok, it is easier to get an account. With all these other companies, other social medias, you got to give them a lot of information. TikTok, cell phone number, or an email address, you're good. You're on.
It's all about control.
And so the information that they get, they don't have to turn that over to the U.S.
Right.
So they don't have a lot of control over what TikTok does. We got one more to do, and then we can put our tinfoil hats on, because there are spaceships flying around New Jersey. I'm down for the conspiracies.
Yeah, buddy.
I am, dude. I love them.
I got something on this I got to do real quick, but go ahead. We'll come back. I got one more thing I got to add on to this, but that's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, add on to it, bro. Last one. Ramen noodles.
I'm the only one in my house that's return to sender. I don't mess with ramen.
Yeah?
What about you, Paul?
Me neither.
Oh, hell yeah. Let's go. That's right. Yeah, Paul.
Nope.
Team no ramen.
No ramen noodles, bro. Those are not good for you. They're not good for you, man.
And the reason I bought that one up is because I'm an anime head, Elliott. I love anime. Oh, yeah. I love anime just as much as I love gaming. And ramen's all in anime, So we'll have to have this off air or some other thing. I'm about to have my first entry into anime because we had some good friends up this past weekend. We went to GalaxyCon, which was a Comic-Con here in Columbus. Yeah.
And our friends came down and went, oh yeah, dude. I mean, we can do a whole nother thing. We're super Cobra Kai and Karate Kid nerds in our house. My kids are.
Yes.
And so that's what I thought. I was hoping one of the questions was going to be, because the trailer for the new movie dropped today and it is a fire. Like the Jackie Chan, Ralph. It looks like legit, like a good movie, not just like, this is fun. Like they went for it. So anyways, my friends came down, and when they were visiting, we were kind of going around and visiting a bunch of different stuff down in Columbus, and we went down this place called North Market, and we were kind of having this whole fun time when they were spending time, and we went to a ramen bar, and my daughter looked to her, our friend who came down, to give her some extreme supreme guidance on ordering ramen. So shout out to Kobe for the ramen god, because I was like, I don't know, they have donuts. You can just get donuts too. Like, I don't know what to do with the ramen with the ramen stuff.
Yeah. I'm down for authentic ramen. You go to a restaurant and get it, but out of the packets and stuff. No, man.
Oh, they like the ramen? Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
I'm just not a soup guy, man. I'm not a soup guy. I don't need my food wet.
Yeah.
I don't need my food wet.
Well, that's all I got, guys, with Keep It or Return to Sender.
Can I?
Awesome.
Can I throw one thing back on the other thing we were just talking about real quick? A thing I would say,
TikTok?
the cancel culture thing, or TikTok, or the TikTok thing, or what? Kind of all the same.
Okay.
Here's where I come down to it, right? Like, I'm very not super informed on the level of any of the stuff you guys are chatting. My thing on it is thinking about it from the perspective of a parent, which I don't think it has to do with TikTok or Instagram or whatever it is, right? It's always going to come back to somebody else's responsibility. It's what kind of stuff do people have access to, and who is helping that person understand if this is good information or not. That's my thing with it. There is a really powerful documentary on HBO about the Sandy Hook parents and the Alex Jones trial that I would recommend to anybody who kind of maybe questions, like, isn't this all like, yeah, it's just kind of internet opinions and all this kind of stuff. And it kind of shows the impact that some of that stuff had on those families. And you know, there's so many things going on with all these things. And again, I'm not trying to be like a womp womp on the conversation, but my take on it is that's the part about it that gets me, is how do we help folks understand whether what you're seeing is someone saying, hey, here's a thing I think might be true, right? Versus somebody saying, this is true. And somebody being like, that is true? Oh my gosh. Do I make sense?
I get the misinformation aspect, and that's the only problem I have with the social media in general, bro. Is that if you have a camera and cell phone is it now, bro? You don't even need, like, you can do so much with just a cell phone camera. And
think about how easy it is. Think about what we're doing right now, right? What we're doing right now looks like if, like, 20 years ago, like, this would have looked like some futuristic news broadcast, right? We have the power to do this. We're each in our houses with stuff that we got from the internet and plugged into the wall. And we're just sitting here talking.
Yeah.
And we could go ham on something, and Paul could be like, I think that the lizard people are buying up all the diamonds, and we could put that out, and there might be people that would see that.
So you know about lizard people.
They're in LA. They have a whole underground world, bro.
I was hoping he was gonna be like, so you get it, right? Yeah, that's right.
Get it, bro. Dude, I'm telling you, I'm all in.
Yeah. So that's my deal with it, is like, I know that stuff exists. I know whatever. I'm not interested in, like, fighting with people online, but my whole thing with that, with anybody, I don't know, whether it's kids or whatever, man, I talk to my kids from a very young age. My wife and I both did, about, like, internet literacy, being able to understand what's real on the internet. I remember sitting in our living room with YouTube up on our TV and going through YouTube thumbnails and being like, that's fake. That's trying to get you to watch this. See why that's trying to get you to watch this? Like, we did like a lesson with our kids in the living room, because they were watching skateboard videos, and they're clicking on this video. This video, right? The thumbnail shows this dude or this skateboard about to tip down this old water slide. And my kids click on it, and it's just some crappy video of some dude doing a rail slide, right? And they're like, what? And I'm like, perfect. Yeah. Here's a learning opportunity. Yeah. So do that with your kids, man. If you got kids, teach them how to use YouTube. Teach them how to click on. I mean, you're going to click on this thumbnail, and yes, these dudes actually look this good. Like, you're going to want to, this video is legit. Like, but other stuff out there is, you got to figure out, how do they mitigate it? And how do you help them understand what that means? Because it's scary for kids, I think.
No,
but you're doing what you're supposed to be doing as a good parent, and you're navigating your kids through what's going on the internet. and
Yeah.
you're probably even restricting the things that they see. So I think the people who have a problem with cancel culture aren't in
Yes.
tune with their kids, right?
I would agree,
So
man.
since,
I would
since
agree. I
I
think that's where
restrict,
we, yeah.
since, right, since I restrict my kids on what their their internet access or what they see on internet until they have developed that mental capacity to as they grow to understand for themselves. To me it's like where are people going to draw the line as far as censorship goes?
Sure.
You're gonna have there's not gonna there's going to be somebody out there dictating what everyone is able to say, and what people are not able to say. Is just you don't like it, turn the channel. In my opinion, especially as
Yeah.
adults, you're an adult now. Take accountability
Agree.
of what you absorb.
And where
Right?
it flips, right? And where it flips
Yeah.
for those people to be held as equally accountable, that's cool. You sit in your living room, you watch whatever you want. You soak all that in, man. But the moment that you go to the grocery store and you start talking horrible, mean, nasty stuff to some lady, that to me is when I'm like, nah, this isn't okay anymore. If you're
Right.
now saying stuff that you heard off a YouTube video and you're now walking into Kroger and you're being like, "Ugh," I'm like, we're not now just having our own opinions. We're now being hurtful. And so it's
Well,
changed.
even that, in my opinion, that's fine to me. Again, it's my perspective, but that person's gonna have to face consequences. Okay,
Sure,
so
sure,
now,
sure.
not saying that you're not gonna be facing consequences, but you do have that freedom to say what you want to say, but
Agreed.
that comes
I
along
agree.
with consequences. You get what
I
I'm
agree.
saying? So,
Yep, I agree.
right.
100%. Same reason why I have consequences, because when my kids were little, I thought that we needed to own like 8 lightsabers. We only have 2 kids. I lost a lot of money. I should have called. I remember that one day being like, we have too many lightsabers for having 2 kids in this house. So consequences, right?
Oh
Yeah.
man.
You
But hey, let me jump on track with some entrepreneur questions now. I told you guys, one of my greatest investment moves was from a financial aid. Um, so a friend of mine, a long time ago when I was in college, I was 16. He told me, the fastest way to accumulate wealth is through debt. And that stuck with me till, still to this day. And it's the truth. The fastest way to accumulate wealth is through debt. The right kind of debt, though. Okay, and we can have that conversation about that. But my greatest investments have always been investing in myself and in real estate. I want to know, Elliot, what has your greatest investments been?
Man. 2 answers. One, this is totally super true, right? This is not, we didn't plan this or anything like that. One is definitely uh, seeking you out for help financial stuff. I mean that dead serious.
Thank you.
That was a thing that
Appreciate that.
as somebody who was thinking about making that kind of like leap or transition into my own stuff, whatever that means, that part of it was so daunting and so scary that like it made me not want to do it. It was a thing for a while of why I didn't, because I was like, I don't know what taxes work. I just get a W-2 from my job like I have for 30 years and I hit the thing and I get money sometimes. Like that's it.
Yeah.
And it's not a thing. It's not a thing where I'm like lazy or whatever. I just didn't feel like dealing with it. I'm well, okay, is that lazy? I mean, like there's other stuff
No, it's
going on.
not.
There's
Not.
other stuff to do that I don't feel like learning about taxes, I guess, kind of, right? And so making a financial investment of working with you and what that then yielded for us and my wife in terms of our businesses and things like that, massive thing that helps springboard like, oh, we're going to be like, this is going to be okay. So like dead for real, like being able to chat with you and how accessible, that's one. The other one is
Appreciate that.
time. Yeah, for sure. The other one is just time, man. Like I am not a dude who hopefully he doesn't see this. I'm not a dude who really gets fired up off of like David Goggins type stuff, right? So like somebody hollering at me to like move my ass like doesn't do it for me, right? But I do know that I'm a good steward of my time. And so I think, especially over these past 3-4 years or so, when I've kind of been getting this together, man, I don't really, and I mean this in the least like way possible. Like I don't waste a lot of time. Like I there's sometimes when I don't do anything, but if I don't do anything, it's on purpose, if that makes sense. Like if I have time to do stuff, I'll do stuff, but I'm also really working on kind of slowing down. So I think my biggest investment has been really understanding how my time fits for me. And what that's yielded is more financial stuff. When I figured that out, how to manage, not even time management, but just being able to say no to things and being able to say, can I follow up with you tomorrow? Or if somebody wants to schedule an appointment with me and maybe I don't have an opening tomorrow, but they really want to meet, instead of me finding a way to make an appointment time, I'll just be like, no, sorry, can you meet on Thursday? And they'll probably say yes, right? But my whole thing was I wasn't doing time right, I don't think, for a long time. I was trying to multitask too much shit at once. And then it just ends up being you're doing a bunch of stuff not really well. And then it's not multitasking anymore. So I would say my biggest investment has been slowing down and figuring out like how to maximize my time in a way that I feel completely fulfilled. I don't feel like, it's chaos. Like there's a rhythm. It's nuts, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't like it too. Like there's a reason that, did either of you guys ever bartend?
No.
No? Oh, I bartended for a while and I love bartending because I like it when it's crazy, right? I mean, again, it goes back to the whole like liking to be down there when somebody's coming down the aisle. Like I know there's a part of me that like likes that, and if I don't find it in a good way, I think I find it in a bad way, and so I try to find it now more in a good way, whether it's lifting or climbing mountains or answering questions on here I don't know what are coming about.
Did you have any specialty drinks? Did you have any specialty drinks?
Did I have any?
Signature drinks.
Yeah. I mean, I made a pretty good margarita, Paul. I'm not gonna lie. Like that was kind of my go-to. Okay. Like I can rock a pretty good margarita, not just a margarita, but like a good one. Or Manhattan. Get you a Manhattan. You look like a Manhattan guy.
Yeah, I'm a martini guy.
I would have got there next. I can get you a martini, but like, yeah, I'll get you a martini, but it'll taste like an Applebee's martini or some shit. I'm not like, we're not doing too fancy stuff. I'm more of like, let's like do like a bunch of beers in one hand from a thing type bartender. That was like let's hang out.
Yeah, I like martinis. I tell the bartender, you don't have to put it in a funny glass. Okay,
just make
me a special martini for me.
Just put it in one. But time, man. But so that's it. I would say that, and me not lying to myself about time, and me not lying to myself ever pretending that I'm not going to get something done. Hans and I were talking about this the other night. I stayed up till about 4:00 in the morning the other night finishing a wedding video, and I was exhausted, right? And it was like 3:00, but I was like, what am I going to do? Go to bed and not finish it?
Right, man. That's what it
like.
Takes,
what was
man.
Right? What's the other option? I mean, seriously, what was the other option? Not doing it? I wasn't going to do that. So it was 3:00, and I was like, let's just finish it. I'm not going to quit. So stop pretending like you might.
I love it, man. I love seeing the similarities in entrepreneurs. And hopefully the people who've been watching these episodes can see those similarities too, man. Yeah, it's that unbalance, man. We all have that same 24/7, but it's what we do in that 24/7 which determines our success, right?
Yeah, man. And sometimes in those 24/7, I don't do anything. But I don't do anything on purpose. And I'll decide that this is a time when we're not doing nothing. Or we're going to go to the movies. Or we're going to go to whatever. And there's other times where I'm like, today's going to be a burn it down day. And we are going from 8 to midnight. And like,
I relate to you, Elliott, because there's times where I'm like, man, I just don't want to do anything either. Because the times that I do have to do things, it's much more intense, right? Much more focused because I got to chill out when I needed to chill out, right? So I agree with you on that. Now the time though could interfere, your time with your passion and stuff could interfere in relationships, right? If you could talk a little bit about how your passion, falls and intermingles with relationship. How does that work out? Is it, and I know you do have, a successful one. What's the secret to maintaining a successful relationship with the desires and passions that you have going on?
Man, I tell you what a top tier question, and probably not one that's ever come up in conversations. I don't think about this so far. I would say it was a lot of figuring it out, right? Because again, none of this was on the bingo cards in terms of like stuff that I planned on doing. So, and again, the way we were rocking for a while was cool, man. Like life was good. I was 300 pounds. That wasn't cool, but like life was cool. Like we were having fun and doing stuff and everybody's good. I think as I started to find new things, I think I was very, I try to be very straightforward about just being like, as I started to meet people and go places and travel stuff and do things, about just being like, hey, is it cool if I go do this? I don't think we don't use the words, is it okay in our house? Because I'm not necessarily like asking for permission, but I just want to know, like, is this good to go if I go do this? And I think a level of just quick transparency that we've developed, especially recently, has helped a lot, of just being like, if I say, hey, so-and-so wants to do something this weekend, is that cool? And if she says, no, because we've got something else going on, I know that if she tells me that, then she means it. And it's a thing that takes priority over me being like, I'm going to go play with my friends. Right.
Yeah.
So I skip the part where I'm like, oh, come on, because we have an understanding that we both know kind of what important things are. Does that make sense at all?
Transparency,
like
yes, 100%.
Like a real shorthand and transparency about like not trying to be cute about conversations, I think. Just because, it goes back to that, maybe it goes back to the time thing, in my opinion. Like we've got other stuff to do. Like we've got fun times to have. We've got shows to watch. I don't know, man. Like I haven't even started Dune Prophecy yet. That's insane. But I haven't watched that yet. Dune's my favorite stuff of all time. But like we haven't watched this show yet, right? Because life's been lifing. And in my brain,
sometimes it's better to binge watch too, anyway. So wait till the whole episodes come out, right? So
for this, I was waiting. I was waiting strategically, but like, I mean, that's all I would say. I mean, I guess that my one nugget I would say, man, is like, it's like all this stuff though, right? It's not. It sounds simple, but it is. It's just say what you want to say. I don't know a better way to do it, or I'm not trying to. I could find a fancier way to say it, but be transparent.
I think
if you want to go,
the biggest thing with that is being, so me, my wife and I, we've been married eight years.
Yeah.
Dang. 8 years, right? And I don't, there is no book or no manual to it.
Yeah.
And I think it's just figuring it out. And I think the longer you are together, the more, the longer the relationship as it goes on, I think that honesty is what comes. It has to be strategically, it has to be tactful, right? Because you don't want to hurt each other. At the same time, it has to be an intentional pursuit with the honesty. What's the intent of the honesty? Are you trying to hurt, trying to cut down, or are you trying to get somewhere with the relationship? And I think a lot of times, especially being in this space and what we do, that striving, right? You have to have that compulsion to you. Like you have to, you kind of have to like be obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Because if you're not obsessed, you don't stay up till 3:30, 3 in the morning. Right. I've watched the sun come up, and I'm sure both of you have, in what you're doing. And you're like, dang, now I gotta lay down, but I got kids and I'm married. So laying down during the day doesn't come that easy, especially when they're little, because they'll still come jump on you and wake you up.
Sure.
But,
tell me about it.
That is a part of it, and we talked about it offline, Elliott, with the mama mentality. You don't get that great being Kobe if you don't practice before the game, play the game, and then you practice after that. But and like you said, with that time, and you have to be like this with that time, because there's times where you'll plan something and it's just like, oh, we're gonna nip that. Matter of fact, just on Sunday, I went to the gym Sunday in the morning and I cut everything out. After that, I didn't do no streaming. I don't even think I did a post on social media, because that was like my day. Like I was just done, and I'm not doing anything. But you need that
and here's the thing, man, and knowing that, right? So, Paul, to your other question, like I guess a thing about whether it's advice or whatever for somebody like that. My biggest thing for all this stuff too is you're gonna do it again tomorrow. It's that Simon Sinek infinite player in the infinite game thing, right? It's that I'm gonna lift tomorrow. I'll probably make another video tomorrow. I'll get
Yeah.
a chance to be a parent tomorrow. I'll get a chance to be a husband tomorrow, whatever it is. So if you maintain the infinite player and the infinite game mentality through that stuff, then nothing ever feels like it's your last shot. Then you can maintain this idea that, like, I'm going to get another. I mean, I've had plenty of parenting moments like that where I've been like, oh man, I botched that. And then the beautiful thing about kids, right, is how resilient they are. There's been times when I've had like really crappy interactions with my kids before bed that I've been like, oh man, I wish that didn't go that way, right? We're arguing about something or whatever, and I go to bed thinking about it. And then like the next morning, they walk down and they're like, hi. And I'm like, what? Like nobody else is thinking about this? Like they're just, everybody's moved on, where I've been up all night preparing, like, I think we need to, right? So that resiliency is a thing that you can lean into. And if you find that within, you know, all these things, and I think that's what makes it easier, is realizing that like you're gonna get another chance to. There's very few times that things are actually effed, right? Like there's very few times that you are actually done. Like you feel that feeling, but like it's not. Put it this way, I haven't actually been there yet, and there's probably been about 200 times over the past 4 years where I've been like, well, that's been a good run. where I've been, you know, where I've been like, this is it.
This is it.
Like this is yep. I didn't like. I picked the wrong song for that, and I guess now everybody hates me. So good luck, and we'll see you guys later. Right?
I was gonna. I was listening to.
Now you're getting canceled. That's what's gonna happen.
I was listening to TD Jakes.
So, Elliott,
and
go ahead.
I was gonna say I was listening to TD Jakes, and his thing was you never want to fail at the same thing consistently. So it's like if you didn't parent well today, if you didn't husband well today, or if you didn't business owner well today, or employee, just don't do it again tomorrow.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But I guess that goes to what you said. I've never heard what you said, but that's in here now.
Oh, here you go, man, dude. Here you go. Simon Sinek, Infinite Player, Infinite Game, top tier. He doesn't need it. That's the jam right there.
That's it. Oh man,
that's my guy. It's the best, man. It was the thing that really, like, over these last couple of years, man, it was the one thing that made me be like, oh, okay, I can see how this stuff fits together now.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, I get this idea of just like the goal is to just keep playing. I can do that. I don't need to win, right? I don't need to win. I just need to keep playing. Like be, you know, be who's like, you know, be what's, you know, Ron Artest or whatever. Be somebody who's just in the league forever.
Yeah,
that's
right.
True.
Like be just. Yeah, there's probably a better example than that. I don't know why I picked Ron Artest, but like, there's probably a better example.
That was good. What was you gonna say, Paul?
But speaking of time, right, and time management, I don't want to hold you too long, Elliott. This has been one of the funnest episodes that I've had, man. I appreciate you being on board. What's some of the future endeavors that you are planning on here in the near future? That I tell you,
boy, I'll tell you what. I'll give you real big, right? Here's what I'll say for anybody who watches this. What we're doing with Warpath, the deal with it is when we genuinely mean that if it's a good idea, we'll say yes to it. We mean that. Whether that's video stuff, whether it's partnering with stuff, whether it's working with folks for things, whether it's helping somebody build out something they want to build out, man. Fitness space, business space, whatever it is, we both love people, and I like hanging out and talking to people, and I like figuring out how we can help make whatever that is for you the best thing possible. The thing I always said with my videography stuff, the thing I came up with one day is helping people see themselves the way they deserve to be seen, because that's the way that I thought about it. And that was, I remember a thing that Instagram first, one of the times when I was like, pick some music for a lift or something like that, and having a moment of just being like, that's cool. That looks cool. And I think it's cool for people to feel cool. I wish I had a more elaborate way to say that, but I think everybody should get to feel cool. I think whether that's a slow-mo shot of you walking up to deadlift 500 pounds set to, you know, whatever it is, Blackout album by Method Man, whatever it is, like whatever you want, that's your thing, cool. Awesome. Or if it's you getting married set to whatever it is, like we are excited to help people feel cool. And I think we've got some really neat ways we're going to do that.
Outstanding.
That's fire. That is
fire, man. I love it.
Appreciate
I love it, man. Hey, Elliott, it's been awesome having you on here, man.
Yes, thank you, bro.
Thank you so much.
I know
it might not be a big deal for you, 10. But it's a big deal for us. This is our 10th.
Are you joking? This is
what a way to do episode 10, bro.
This has been a blast. No, Tansei's done. I already texted him. I texted him a half hour ago, and I said, I'm out. I said, this is... no, man, like for real, genuinely appreciate it. No, it's what we're doing, right? The whole point with all this stuff, right, is we like talking to each other. And so if we like talking to each other, and there's other people that like listen to us talk to each other, and they walk away from that with something that they put into their day, sweet.
Yeah.
Why would that not be cool? Why is that not awesome? If there's something that you heard over the last hour and a half that you were like, I can use that, sweet.
Take it.
Cool.
Well, you want to help people look cool, feel cool. How can people reach you if you want to put it out there?
Instagram mostly Elliott _Castello _ Instagram. You can shoot me an email too, ElliottCastello@gmail.com if you got anything that are ideas. Here's another thing I'll tell you. I want to do a project next year. I watch a lot of documentaries and I watch a lot of cool stuff that unravels over time. I'm very interested in doing a long-term project of something like that. So if there's anybody that has a weird, interesting story that you think deserves to be told, you can come find me and we'll find a way to tell that story.
There you go. You all heard it here first. Dude, man, I appreciate it, man. It's been awesome. Thank you for blessing us with an amazing episode 10. As always, man, this is Beyond the Hustle. If you need any help with your taxes or finances, because tax season is coming, it's right there. Hit up Paul Rene right there at taxmoney123.com. I'm Daniel Tadamy. If you need production assistance, you want to make your podcast look this dope, hit me up, tadamyproductions.com. Always reach out to the guest, Elliott. He's tagged in this post, so y'all reach out to him, friend him, let him know you found him on Beyond the Hustle. Thank y'all so much, and we will see y'all. Oh, we're taking 2 weeks off. We're taking 2 weeks off. So we will be back January 7th, Paul? I think that is.
Yes, sir.
January 7th. We'll be
back January 7th. We'll be back January 7th, man. We're going to take a little break for the holidays, but Maestro, I know you're going to be still connecting and keeping connections with the people out there and let them know what's in store for 2025. Contact Daniel Tadamy, Tadamy Productions, man. He's the guy who is the glue who puts things together. He'll make you podcasts if you need or any videos, and Elliott also as well. He'll make you look cool, as he said. Great guys. I'm happy to be friends with both of you gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Same, man.
Yes. Hit me up if you need any financial advice, tax advice. I'll get you that money that you deserve. All right. Nationwide coverage, close to home service. All right, and happy holidays and have a happy new year, people.
We'll see y'all.
Appreciate you, fellas.
All right.